The Hoovies Garage Audi R8 is almost done, and no longer Hoovies Garage. It's mine. Let's get started. So for those of you who follow along on Hoovies Garage or on the Car Wizard channel, you know that I did an in-store credit purchase from Tyler Hoover of this 2008 Audi R8. And it's almost finished. I've gone through and done a lot of the changes we talked about on the previous video. We're going to give an update on how things turned out and how we're almost at the finish line, just to find out that the previous owner before Tyler really didn't do any good to the front area of this car. It's really shoddy work. Let's take a look around this thing, and I'm going to start it for you guys and let you hear stock exhaust. So here is the front right corner of the R8. It's in pretty good condition. Really, the paint is very nice. It has kind of a PPF film over the whole car, which I'm glad that they did that. And you'll notice as we go around to the back, it's all the way back together again. The last time you guys saw this car, it was completely disassembled in the rear, and it looked like it was in shambles. I've got the stock exhaust back in it and went back together. I had quite a lot of trouble with these tail lights. The reason why is because they're installed right by where the exhaust system is, and it gets so hot that the plastic gets brittle like glass. The previous owner before Tyler cracked a lot of the mounts. I had to do some modifications. I was just going to buy some new ones. I'll just get some good used ones that are in good shape. And even all the ones on eBay are shattered, cracked, broken. The heat really does a disservice to these poor tail lights. There's really a lot of heat back here. I found a good pair. They were $1,500, not for the pair, each. I said no. So I made some mounts and got it to mount up. It actually worked very well. It looks very nice. And let's open the engine bay and take a look around. Here we have the 4.2 liter V8. You guys remember that the previous owner had a V10 emblem here, lying to everybody looking under the bonnet or hood. It is not a V10, it is a V8, and I do have my Weyland-Yutani sticker on there. I'm an Aliens fan. Danielson's working his way through this, and we'll show you the coolant pipe job that he just finished up. I did remove the K&N style air filters. I absolutely hate them. I don't want them in my car because no one ever services them and then they go to pot. It's got the stock cotton or paper style filters back in it. This is not supercharged or turbocharged or anything like that. I don't need maximum airflow through it. But the engine runs fine. It's in good shape. It just had all those pesky coolant leaks. So really didn't have to do a whole lot inside the engine bay. While we're back here, everything's opened up. On the back of this taillight, there was it's like a suction cup and a ball that kind of sticks on. All that was broken and shattered. And I was able to make my own mount with a piece of a bolt. And you can see here, kind of a shiny nut with a washer there, and I was able to get that mounted to the plastic housing, and it worked very, very well. It is very strong, probably stronger than stock, in fact. I didn't want to splurge on the $3,000 for a set of taillights. This car is never going to be a museum Concours level R8, especially with 84,000 miles on it. But as you can see, as you looked around the back, everything lines up, everything is nice, the gaps are clean. I made sure all that lined up very, very nicely and turned out actually very good. I'm very happy with the result. Let's finish our walk around. Right here, I mentioned to you guys in a previous video that I'm going to be removing this side blade and having it refinished. I already talked with ICS Collision there in Wichita that I trust to do all this expensive type work. They say that they can take care of this no problem. They'll sand it down and re-clear it. It'll look like brand new. The other side's not that way, but I'll go ahead and have them done in a pair so that they match and one side doesn't look cleaner or better or darker or lighter or something than the other. Let's go ahead and open the interior here. You guys knew I was going to put in an Android style stereo. Danielson's working through that and he's just finding tons of wires everywhere. There's all these wires that Danielson is tracing and pulling through, and it's just tons and tons of wire. Why do people do this? Guys, if you're out there with a brand new Lambo, brand new Ferrari, brand new Audi R8, don't hack your car up with $17,000 worth of audio equipment. Please don't do that. It really devalues the vehicle. Over the past 10 years, I've been working on supercars. You'd be surprised how many second and third hand owners have begged me, please Car Wizard, get all this garbage out of my car. I want it back like it was when it was new. It already comes with the best sound system ever. The engine. Now, I do know some people want to listen to some tunes while they're cruising along. The stock system is more than adequate. It's fine, especially on newer cars. Don't drill holes through the firewall or do stupid stuff to your brand new 458 or 488 or something like that. Please don't do that. So he's getting that worked through. We'll get that removed. Let me go ahead and start it for you guys so you can hear the stock sound exhaust. That was the stock exhaust in sport mode. When it was installed, there was the actuators that can open and close flaps or valves on the exhaust. I had Junior Mint weld them into sport mode permanently. And it sounds perfect. It's just loud enough to sound really, really good, but quiet enough where you want to cruise around town and just take it easy. Just like Snoop Dogg said, cruising down the street, and I won't say the rest, that's not right, but you just want to cruise and take it easy. I'm telling you, the last exhaust I removed has actually already been sold. It's been moved on to a new owner. I think it was a Rev 9 exhaust, and it sounded like a tractor with straight pipes. It was so bad. Now it sounds exotic, it sounds good. Let's go ahead and look under the frunk and show you more damage we found in the firewall. It does have a squeaky hood strut or frunk strut, whatever you want to call it, so I do apologize for that.
No, Wizard, it's inner alien coming out.
It sounds like an alien shrieking at you. It does. It's this passenger side hood strut or trunk strut, whatever you want to call it. It works still, but it's just very noisy. I'm probably just going to order replacements. But Danielson was about to start putting the front pieces and panels all back together, and he started pulling the wiring, the excess stereo wiring out, and we found a hole with like a hodgepodge blob of silicone or something. Let me show you guys. So you can see there's still some wiring poking through, and there's actually an open hole below that where just air and fumes and things are coming into the cabin. They drilled holes with like hole saws or something straight through the firewall and just blobbed a bunch of silicone on it. That is ass work. It's terrible. It's crap. But Danielson's going to remove that all. We're cleaning it all up. We do have rubber body plugs that are made. Luckily, they made perfectly circular holes, and we have body plugs that fit perfectly, just like on a stock car. It will block those off and take care of that issue. Then we're going to clean all this dust out and clean up the dirt and put all the panels and frunk back together again. That's really all that's left to finish this out, and a pair of hood struts. There is an issue with a hole in your firewall like that where exhaust fumes or carbon monoxide could get into the cabin and cause illness. Not necessarily probably from this engine because the exhaust is way back there, the engine's way back there, but think of the car in front of you, an old 62 Cadillac or something that doesn't have catalytic converters, and all those fumes, especially if the fans are on the radiators on this thing, it's just shooting that straight into the cabin. We don't want that, so we're going to get those holes sealed up and take care of that risk that could be potentially there. The biggest thing I had to fix was the really jankety old pipes. They had cracks in them. I'll show you the old ones. We'll get this thing lifted in the air and show you the brand new ones. So with the original pipes, there was a bracket that was cracked and leaking coolant. I thought that we could save a little time and money for Hoovie when he was the owner by just putting a silicone repair in between the two and put the squeeze ear type clamps on and be a very tight, good sealing fix. And it did work for this particular leak. If all I had to deal with was just this size of a coolant pipe, I could probably work with it or figure something out, but I really had a lot more than that. Let me show you. I had this entire piece that goes the length of the whole car. And everywhere there's a mount that's welded to it, I don't know if they soldered it or welded it or what they did, but these are fixed to the body, and any kind of vibration and also the heat and cold cycles over the years, it just cracks these joints and it just starts dripping out coolant. All of these brackets were leaking on this entire length of this whole tube, both tubes I should say. I got the brand new ones in. They came from Germany, or OEM Audi parts in the box from the factory, it took almost 8 weeks to get them. A long, long wait. Can you imagine that you're a customer, this is your car? Really, there aren't a lot of brand new coolant pipes like this readily available. I checked Euro Spares, I checked a few dealers, a few other options. My guy was able to get it here a lot faster. I was quoted by an Audi dealer 4 to 6 months. My guy, AMH Exotics is who I use, was able to get it in 8 weeks. It still took a long time. Let's get this thing lifted in the air and you can see the brand new pipes. If you remember from the previous video, we had to remove the differential completely out of the vehicle and several other parts to be even able to get the pipes out. And I'll show you why. Let's take a look. So here's the pipes that are mounted. They're brand new from Germany, and they go kind of up along the drive shaft here and over the top of this differential, and then they snake in between the sway bar and the steering rack and into this area right here, which is kind of back there and behind the battery. It's hard to see, but you can see some coolant hoses. They actually go to those pipes. So we're at the front bumper, and you notice these pipes, like I mentioned, they're the length of the entire car. They go all the way back. They snake up around drive shaft mounts, and they end right here with some rubber hoses that actually go into the engine. So that's quite a lot of an ordeal to get that all apart. So on camera this looks like wood or plywood or something. It's not, it's just like an undercoating. It's kind of a tan color on the silver body. But there is a panel, you can see all of these little bolt holes or screw holes, whatever you want to call them, that covers this up. And when I first got the vehicle, it was dripping coolant, I mean a lot, out of these, around these screw holes. But we found out very quickly it was coming from these pipes. So how long will these brackets last? You can see it's the same scenario. They're fixed tightly to the body. And you can see they solder or welded the same as they did on the old pipes. Hopefully they last 10 years or something like the last ones did, maybe longer. I don't know of any fixes for that. Probably coolant changes will help with any kind of corrosion, but vibration and heat and cold cycles, there's not much you can really do about it. It is what it is. At least it has brand new pipes now. And you can kind of see the stock muffler installed through this little access hole. It's kind of a brownish colored. You can see it there. It looks like a bulbous suitcase shape. All mounted in there, stock, everything bolted up just fine. It does have catalytic converters inside that stock muffler. So you remember when Hoovie bought this, it had catalytic converter codes. I'm wondering if putting the stock exhaust back on may solve that issue and have the proper flow like it's supposed to. Maybe that code will go away. I'm crossing my fingers and hoping so. Let's get this thing on the ground. I have a few friends that have R8s as well. Some of them have put different exhausts or aftermarket exhausts, and they said the same thing. As soon as they put their aftermarket exhaust on, they got those catalytic converter codes, even though their converters were fine before. There's something weird about that, something about the flow or the design of the system. Again, I'm hoping putting the stock system back on it will clear that code and it'll go away forever, or at least for a long time. So I'm getting very close to being able to drive the R8 finally. There are a few small leaks, oil leaks and things I'm going to take care of in the winter when it's not fun driving weather for one of these cars here in Kansas. But until then, it'll be at a place where it's safe and fun to drive and I can enjoy it for the summer. I'm looking very forward to that, taking it to some car shows. So thanks again, Hoovie from Hoovies Garage, for working the deal with me. We've taken your hoopty R8 and turn it into at least a running, driving R8 that's not leaking all over the place. And it'll have a better stereo, at least function-wise. If you're curious what kind of tools we use to work on this R8 or any other car in the shop, check our Amazon affiliates link in the description below. A lot of the tools we actually use in the shop here are listed there for sale, and if you purchase any of them, we get a small cut and we really appreciate it. And make sure to hit the subscribe button because there's so many more videos to come. Thanks for watching.